Most people won't retire early, not because they can't, but because they don't understand the true cost of waiting. Today, we're going to talk about the 5 reasons you should retire as soon as you can on the Wealth Twins show. Welcome, and let's get into it. Nicole, what's a reason people should retire as soon as they can?
I think the first reason is because retiring in your 60s is not a rule, okay? You can retire when you want to, when you're financially and emotionally ready, not when you hit a certain age, and people need to understand that. That age give people a mark where they can start getting Social Security. And then people realize, okay, then that's when I should retire. When that's not the case. You do not have to wait until you're 60 something years old in order to retire. So the first reason why you should retire when you can is because you can.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. You look, no day is promised to any of us, right? But our mother did not get a chance to retire, and she worked at the same company for over 25 years, and she passed away before the age of 65, right? So that's no time to wait. If you have the ability to retire, you should do it as soon as possible. Another reason I think why you should be retiring as soon as possible is because no one regrets not making more money. They regret not having more experiences. Experience is what matters in life. Okay. When you look back, most people, I was looking at this on Doctor the other day. He interviewed hundreds of people who are 90 plus, and none of them regretted making less money. They all regretted not spending time with the people they loved and having experiences with those people. As soon as you retire, your world opens up with the amount of time you have to start creating those experiences with the people you love or just doing new things on your own.
Yeah, I think that's something that most people or many of us need to take heed from, right? You can learn from older people who have had the experiences that you haven't gone through yet. And knowing what they know now and learning from their experiences is something that I know I like to do because it can save us a lot of heartache and a lot of trouble. So when I'm hearing that story of when he's interviewing 9-year-olds and centenarians and they're saying, I wish I would have had more experiences, not that I wish I made more money. I really take that to heart. So I agree. That's another reason why when you can retire as soon as you can, you should. Okay. Now, going on with that, I want to say another reason why you should retire as soon as you can is because this world has become so accessible to us. Traveling is one of my great passions in my life. And the quicker you can start traveling and the more you can do it, the more experiences you can have, and the more it, I feel, can benefit anyone's lives. It opens you up mentally, spiritually, physically. But the longer you wait as you're working, the older you're going to get. The longer you wait to put off retirement and just using vacation days to experience traveling, you're missing out on those times where you could be building up all those experiences that Nadia mentioned before.
There's something called your go years and your no go years, right? And too many of us wait until our no go years to start doing the traveling that we wanted to do our whole lives. I can tell you right now, the vacation I have at this age and what I've been doing since I retired, it's a much different vacation from the people I see on maybe cruise ships and everything who have disabilities or they can't move as easy. That's a very different trip. And I know many of them would have appreciated to do that trip earlier.
Everyone knows Americans are living longer. I think the average life expectancy is in the 70s now.
Yeah.
But there's something called a healthy life expectancy. And that average age is actually 63. Now, when the normal age to retire is 67, you're already past this healthy life expectancy. And all that means is the time that you can consider that you'll be healthy enough to not have that many medical problems that are going to really stop you from doing things that you want. And you're feeling healthy enough to go out and do things that you want to do when you want to do them. So if you're waiting past that age, and we know that's not something everyone can do, but if you can avoid going past that age to retire, that's something you should take into account. So if you're healthy enough and you have the ability to do it, then yes, 63, a healthy life expectancy age, is really what you need to be thinking about. Because really, life, even though you have the number of years and we're living longer, I feel it's about quality of living rather than quantity of years that we have to live.
I would say another reason that you should retire as soon as you can is just from the freedom that you have over your time and over your life. I can't stress this enough. This is such a thing that's so hard to quantify. I think you just have to speak to people who are experiencing it right now. But I will tell you, for example, today, I got accepted to do a holiday boutique at my son's school. I was able to go there and I'm able to participate because I had that flexibility and that freedom over my schedule. When I was working 80 plus hours a week before in banking and in consulting, I would have never been able to drop what I was doing and go participate at my child's school in something that I really wanted to do. I have that freedom now that I can do that. And I tell you, it brings so much joy to me and to my children when I'm able to stop what I'm doing because I have that freedom to do it. And I think more people would understand what that feels like. They would shoot for retiring as soon as possible because that's what life is made out of. Being able to be in the service of other people that you love, being able to be there for them, and if it's a surprise occasion, being able to not let anything stand in the way of that and actually experience those joys with the people you want to do it for. That's the whole reason why I retired early because I know my mother wasn't able to do it for us.
Yeah, I think when you start getting in the mindset saying, I'm going to retire as soon as I can, what you're also giving yourself is a little bit of personal power.
Yeah.
Because if you have a job, that's one of the riskiest things you can do is depending on what income from a job, right? And what do I mean by that is because even if you want to continue working at that job until you're in your 60s, that is not guaranteed. Okay, but if you choose to say, this is when I'm going to retire, and you're doing the steps that you need to do in order to do that, you have that control and you can stop worrying and wondering when a layoff can happen. You take back some of that ownership and some of that power so that you can control your own time and when you can decide when you want to leave rather than being forced into retirement early from your job or being laid off right before you did think that you could retire. Okay, so when you have this type of mindset, it allows you to take more control.
I'll give you another reason why I think you should retire as soon as you can is because you don't need as much money as you think, right? You don't need millions of dollars. You don't need like to have everything covered. I think if you actually sat down and really plot it out and plan the cost of the life that you actually want, it's a lot cheaper than you think. People think they need millions, but in actuality, they probably live off a couple of tens of thousands of dollars a year. So you might be a person who thinks you need $5 million or $1 million to retire. In all actuality, you probably live off of like 40, 50,000 a year, and it's a very comfortable lifestyle for you. And if you're willing to live elsewhere outside of the United States, where healthcare is actually covered, you probably need a lot less and you probably have a higher quality of living in another country than you would have here. So I think when it comes to understanding how much it costs, I think a lot of people will realize, hey, this is actually doable for me and possible a lot earlier than I think.
I mean, I think another reason why you should retire as soon as you can is because it gets you over that nervousness factor, right? What is going to be your next chapter? How is retirement going to be? One, you start actually realizing what retirement actually is. It may be a couple of months of you sitting on your couch or going out every day and vacationing, but then actually life is going to be different and you're going to have to learn how to deal with retirement life. You can't play all day, every day, all year long, right? You're going to have to find a schedule, build a routine, and actually settle into a new identity. And if you can do that on your own terms, the easier it is, right? And then on top of that, you might find maybe in this next chapter, retiring is just from the job that I used to have. Let me go look at something that I actually enjoy, I actually have a passion with, that can possibly bring you some income. Being retired does not mean you don't have to make any money, right? You can make money, but you can actually do things that you enjoy or have more value in, that you see more value in, rather than focusing on, I need to do this to pay all my bills and I need to do this because this is the career that I chosen. When you decide when you want to retire and you get that chance to discover that new identity of what you're going to be in that next chapter, the earlier you can do that, the earlier then you can start seeing what that lifestyle might be like and ease yourself into it rather than just being forced into it very quickly and being stunned and have no idea what you're going to do.
It's better that you plan it out rather than someone forcing you into it and making that decision right away, right? Because I don't think a lot of people deal with change that easily. But if you're planning that out, you can deal with it on your own terms and start setting the groundwork for when the day that you actually want to retire. Because I know, like, I think people leave in retirement with this big end goal, like, oh, I'm finally going to retire. But then once you hit that, you're going to say, what else is there? But there is a whole world open to you, especially if you have a lot of hobbies and passions, like Nicole was saying, that you can actually start focusing on that really work is taking you away from. And if you can start making income from those passions, even better. So don't let it shortchange you and make think that retirement is just I do nothing. I've been more active in retirement than I was working, and I'm much more passionate about the stuff that I'm doing.
Yeah, I mean, when we're talking about retiring as soon as you can, this is not something we think that a lot of people can do right away.
Yeah.
But this is also something we believe more people need to start thinking about much earlier than they do. Don't let your age determine when you should start thinking about, I can retire. I have to retire. I'm 63 now. I have to retire in 2 years. No, you can start thinking about this your 30s, your 40s, your 50s. These are the people that a lot of them are coming to us because they're starting to think about retirement and they're not trying to think about retirement in survival mode. They're thinking about retirement and how they can thrive in retirement. So if you want to learn how to thrive in retirement and you want to start getting the ball rolling so that the years don't pass just like a snap, then you have to learn what you need to do to make yourself be able to thrive. And it comes down to a lot of different things. Planning what the next chapter is, making sure that you have the income and the amount of money that you have saved is enough for you to cover all your expenses. May not be in the millions, maybe it is in the millions, right? But understanding what that would be and your goal, what you need to hit, and then making a plan on how to hit it. And one of the things that we found out a lot of people want to do, especially when they're thinking about retiring and also what to do after retire, they all want an income, but they might want to look at different ways to make that income, maybe a passive income. And one of the ways to do that is investing. And that is something definitely that we like to show people how to do it so you can actually make some income that might be able to supplement paying for your expenses, but you could do it without having such focusing on a full-time job, and you can buy back some of your time with the money you're making and also increasing your savings so that you have a great nest egg when you are ready to retire.
Yeah, let's be honest. The earlier you start planning this out, the earlier you can start making adjustments to your finances, to your living situation, to whatever it is to allow you to retire at the age that you want, right? Because it's a lot easier to make those adjustments now than it is to make those adjustments later when you're closer to, I guess, so called retirement age. The earlier you could do it, the more you have your money can grow in the stock market, the more passive income you can build up with those investments, and the more likely you can have a sustainable life that will allow you to go into a life of retirement a lot earlier on than a lot of people because that planning is so important. The earlier you plan, the earlier you can make those adjustments that are necessary to hit the age of retirement that you want.
Yeah, so if those things that we just said sound good to you, then please check the description below and join our email list because we talk all about money management, how to invest for passive income, how to invest just in general, because maybe you haven't invested outside your retirement accounts. But there are other accounts you can use that can help build that nest egg so that you're not just depending on your retirement accounts. So if that sounds interesting to you, then join our email list and the link is in the description below.
And guys, if you enjoyed this video, make sure you like it, subscribe to the channel, and share this video with someone you care about. We'll talk to you in the next video.